Stop running down the meh and mundane hallways of life and tap into the magical. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am a life and leadership coach for women and host of the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. I like to welcome you to Life Coaching Classroom, where we walk with you in the hallways of life so you can align to the beautiful expansiveness of your true self through reconnection, reinvention, and rejuvenation. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class. Hey, welcome back to this episode 54 on the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. My name is Michelle Shutter, and I am a life and leadership coach for women. And episode 54 is holding back from updating your story. Such a juicy topic. But if you are here for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to invest in yourself. And if you are a return listener, welcome back as well. I am also glad that you decided to invest in yourself, because the Life Coaching Classroom is all about when we are stopping the run in the meh, the mundane, and the mediocrity of life, and we are going to move into the magical. And this podcast today is on fire, and you are absolutely going to love it. Now, before I dive into the content, I want to share with you a really great tool for you on my website. If you go to lifecoachingclassroom.com/library, you are going to see some different tools and resources and courses where you can build your own personal life coaching library. I am so excited about it. It's been a baby, a work in progress. It is something that no one else in the industry does this, but I decided, you know what? This is what resonates with me. I want to give people an opportunity to experience life coaching and to build their own library so that they have access to the different tools and resources. What happens when you go to lifecoachingclassroom.com/library and you scroll down, you're going to see some different things that I have listed there. We're going to continually add to the library, but there's some really great downloads that I think you would really love right now. The first one is the Magic of Reinvention Wheel. When you download that and register to get access to it, I actually provide a video for you to walk you through that tool, and it is so powerful. And then the second one is Experience 2023 Expansiveness, where I break down what to expect each month in terms of energy based on numerology. Super, super great. Again, those two tools, plus there's other ones there for you to check out. But here's what I invite you to do. Pick the tools, pick the resources, pick the courses that you feel called to, that resonate with you, and start to build your own personal library. So that is like what I've been working diligently on for the last few weeks, and it is finally available to people. So excited about that. Now, let's dive into episode 54 here, holding back from updating your story. You know, we all have stories. Let's make that plural. Okay, let's get clear here. We all have stories. You are not alone. We all have stories. Some stories seem a lot more real and alive because we give them more energy. Some stories seem a little bit more dormant, a little bit more quiet because we don't give them our energy. But what we have to realize is that we wrote our stories based on past experiences. Those experiences impacted us in some way, whether it was physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, socially. They impacted us some way, and we created this story. Now, I call it a story because it was our perception at the time. And many times when the story is first created, okay, we got to go back in time. When that story is first created, it happens when we're young and our brains are young and we don't have enough wisdom or life experiences to really sift and sort through the experience or the situation at hand so that we can make sense out of it. We're just too little. We're too young. So many times what happens then is we anchor that situation the story that we've created based on our perception, we anchor it in some sort of fear. The fear of maybe not being loved, a fear of not being safe, a fear of not being accepted, a fear of being abandoned, a fear of not being worthy enough. And it can go on and on and on and on. Okay. And then what happens is we go through life and we start to have other experiences that may not be identical, and that experience may be similar because it activates that same feeling, that same emotion from the first time we experienced it. And so what happens then is the first story is like an anchor, right? It is like almost like a big magnet. And when that feeling is reactivated again, it creates almost like a second story, but it's similar. And that magnet now pulls the second story in and they've attached. So now I've got this first story and now I've got this second story that really essentially are the same story, because when we break it down, it's all rooted and grounded in the same feeling. And essentially then our story grows, right? We've got this magnet. And this process happens over and over and over again in our life. Only we are not aware of it because it happened, again, generally speaking, when we were so young. That first situation happens when we were so young. And as we go through life, we have an abundance of experiences, right? And some of those experiences are going to attach a big magnet to that story and build that story even bigger and create more of a feeling of fear, whatever that fear is within us. Even though we consciously don't believe it, essentially at times, it's brewing in us. Sometimes it's a smaller magnet that attaches, and sometimes it's not at all. But here's what happens then. When we become adults, and we want to do something different, something new, make a change, the stories, this magnet gets in our way. And it gets in our way and we don't realize it. Many times we don't realize it because we're absolutely too close to it. And this feeling that we have perpetuated over time and have created over time feels comfortable to us. Even though logically, if we pulled ourselves out of it and did a bird's eye view and looked at it, it probably wouldn't make sense. But yet we stay in the story. We stay in this place that is anchored, that is rooted years and years and years ago. And so as I was prepping for the upcoming December unit study, and I'm going to share with you a little bit more about that in a little bit here. But one question that I wrote down as I was prepping was, what holds you back from updating your story? If the root of this story, if the anchor of this story happened years and years and years ago, what's holding you back from updating your story? And can you answer that question with radical honesty? Can you be radically honest with yourself? And as I was reflecting on that question, some things that popped into my mind were, what holds you back from updating your story? Time, money, schedules, skills, forgotten values, kids, age, the words I use, patterns, heart hurts. Could you get radically honest and answer the question, what holds you back from updating your story? As I mentioned, too many times we are so close to the situation that it's hard for us to see. And that's where life coaching and having a coach is so valuable, because a coach can see something that you can't see because you're too close to it. But what I want to invite you to look at and to consider is that despite the time, the money, the schedule, the skills, your age, your thoughts, your attitude, your patterns, there's something under all of it. And I'm going to share that in the December unit study. But again, it's going to require you to get radically honest. And when I even say those words, radically honest with yourself, you may feel something in your body start to activate. And that feeling that you're feeling is there to show you that you're just not free from that emotion. You're not free from that story yet. It's there to teach you a lesson. It's there for you to process it and move through it. And while that journey is yours, it isn't meant to be alone. And that's why, again, life coaching is so important. 2022 is going to close here in less than a month. And 2023 is going to bring an energy of you having to trust yourself and pushing beyond your limitations. It's going to require you to shed your old story and rise above your story. So I want to ask you, this episode is holding back from updating your story. Again, what is holding you back? And would you be opposed to rising above your story? If you answered no to that, I want to extend an invitation to you to join us for the December unit study, which is called Rise Above Your Story. And maybe if you even answered yes to, would you be opposed to rising above your story? Perhaps you also want to consider registering for the December unit study. The unit study is where I open the classroom for free life coaching based on this topic, based on this theme, based on this unit. There is no charge for it. It's 3 sessions. We're going to start December 19th on three mini sessions on 3 separate days. You can attend live, or you can catch the recordings, which will be available after each day. Keep in mind, you cannot get the recordings, you cannot attend live unless you register. So if you are not opposed to rising above your story, then I invite you to head on over to lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit and register so we can get you the details. As I wrap this episode up, I really want you to think about, can you get radically honest with yourself? Can you decide right now, draw a line in the sand and make that decision of what you want 2023 to be? Are you going to take your story of 2022 with you? Are you going to take that story that has not served you in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Are you going to take that forward into 2023? And if you want a head start on rising above your story, of shedding your old story, then make sure you register for the unit study, which again is called Rise Above Your Story. We start December 19th, and you can register at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I would absolutely love to hear what you are taking away from this episode. You can email me at hello@lifecoachingclassroom.com. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram, send me a direct message. And I want you to know that your story has served you. That old story, it served its purpose. But it is calling you right now to step into the bigger version of yourself, to update your story to something new. I hope you take time to register for that upcoming unit study because I can't wait to see you in class. Have an amazing day.
Stop running down the meh and mundane hallways of life and tap into the magical. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am a life and leadership coach for women and host of the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. I'd like to welcome you to Life Coaching Classroom, where we walk with you in the hallways of life so you can align to the beautiful expansiveness of your true self through reconnection, reinvention, and rejuvenation. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class.